finding our own vision for our lives and defining what success means to us and doing our part with clear intention to realize our highest potential.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the KTS Success Factor podcast for women, where we talk about challenges senior female leaders face in being happy and successful at work. I'm your host, Dr. Sarah E. Brown. Aster Angagaw is the seventh of 10 children born and raised in Addis Ababa, Ethiopia. She is a mother, a wife, a sister, a friend, an author, and a business leader who enjoys reading, exercising, gardening, and spending time with family and friends. She thrives on creating dynamic balance in her career, community, personal growth, self-care, and overall purpose to achieve sustainable success in her work and life. Aster currently serves as a member of the board of directors of Owens and Inc., a leading healthcare logistics company. And she's also on the board of Lucid Diagnostics, Inc., a commercial stage cancer prevention medical diagnostics company and a subsidiary of PAVmed Inc. Aster has held several senior leadership roles in major corporations, most recently as president of ServiceMaster Brands, the $2.6 billion revenue franchise services division of ServiceMaster Global Holding, a leading provider of essential services to residential and commercial customers. Last year, Ms. Angagaw guided the sale of the division to a private equity firm for $1.6 billion. Prior to ServiceMasters, she served in a series of senior executive roles at Sodexo, a Paris-headquartered multinational diversified services company, which has 440,000 employees and over $20 billion in revenue. Welcome, Aster. It's great to have you.
Thank you for having me.
So you have had a very illustrious career in the corporate world and held several senior leadership roles. What prompted you to want to write a book?
Yeah, well, writing this book was a passion project for me. As I mentioned in my book, I'm passionate about issues involving women, health, and balance, which I've been thinking about for quite some time. So in this book, I wanted to share insights that I have found in my own experiences, what I learned from my mom, and the experiences of other women worldwide. As you can imagine, this was an ambitious undertaking that took me almost 3 years to complete.
Wow. I didn't realize that. So the book that we're talking about is entitled We Are So Much More: The Journeys of 19 Powerful Women Across Countries, Class, and Color. And it's published by Lioncrest, and it just came out in November of 2021. So tell us, Aster, who you intend this book for. Who might be your target reader?
So my target audiences are women business leaders. However, the learning from this book could be applied and is helpful to men and women in all walks of life. So I kept my daughter in mind in writing this book, a college graduate starting her career. In my own life experiences, I often wished there was a book like mine I could refer to when I was faced with serious decisions that were life-altering. So when designing the book format, I kept simplicity, practicality, and ease of reference in mind.
So the subtitle is The Journey of 19 Powerful Women Across Countries, Class, and Color. Tell us a bit about how you chose the women that you're featuring in this book.
Yeah, so my book, We Are So Much More, features 18 remarkable female executives across 10 countries from Africa, Asia, Europe, North America, and South America, all global leaders from Adidas, Herman Miller, Mars, Amgen, Sodexo, CVS, and many more. So I've always been in awe of other successful women, especially women of color, knowing that their path to success was not easy. And I have always been curious to learn about their individual journey to success. So these are women I admired, my colleagues at Sodexo and other places, my classmates from around the world.
Really interesting. And you mentioned in your opening remarks, and I have seen it featured in the book. By the way, I've read it. I really enjoyed it. That one of the inspirations for you and for the book itself was your mother. Tell us a little bit about your mother and how she inspired you.
Yeah, so my mother was an incredible woman of great industry and purpose. And I say that in my book. I've always been inspired by her undying optimism and can do attitude. She had 10 children. And as I shared in my book, when my father became a political prisoner because of his association with the emperor of Ethiopia, who was deposed in 1974, and all our assets were seized, she became a single mom who was forced to raise us with no resources. Such an event could crush anyone, but not my mom. She found a way to raise us to be confident and optimistic despite all my family went through. So she's been an incredible inspiration to me, my sisters, my brothers, to my friends, to our neighbors, to everybody. So I'm always in awe of her.
Yeah, she sounds like an amazing woman. In your book, you organize the themes of your book around and the stories that you tell around 7 aspects of a well-rounded 360-degree view of your life. Tell us a bit about those 7 aspects and how you boiled it down to those as being important to focus on.
Yeah, so that's a great question. It took me some time to get there. So it wasn't something that just occurred to me. Since my mother passed in 2001, I have become more and more reflective about her life and my life that was enabled by her. I wanted to honor her and her efforts. So I reflected on that a lot. My first action after she passed was to enroll in graduate school. And my daughter was young at the time, and it was hectic to go to school while holding a demanding career and family. So, in my last class of graduate school, a professor asked us to write a career strategy paper that was the jumping point for me, which really made me reflect on what I wanted to do or be, and how can I really honor my mom and live a life that is reflective of what she taught me. So since then, I have been reflecting on how best to structure my life. And the 7 dimensions are the results of years of contemplation and thinking. And I really feel, after so many years of thinking and practicing this 7 dimension approach, I decided to structure my book around it because it worked for me. And in having conversation with this great women, it was even more clear that this just was a great way to approach life and create this 360-degree view of life.
And you want to tell our listeners what some of those dimensions are?
Yeah, so the dimensions are career, community, growth, self care, money, play, and purpose. And these are like the key dimension that I felt we need to be very, very intentional about setting a goal around them, measuring our performance against them, through sets of periods of time. So these are the 7 dimensions.
And tell me what you anticipate a reader of your book doing with these 7 dimensions. What's the process that you would suggest that a reader go through with these?
Yeah, I would say start with purpose, right? I think that is something we don't always give a lot of thought till it's a bit late in life. I really encourage everyone, regardless of age and gender, to really be thinking about purpose. What is it that we want to be, and what is it that we want to achieve, and why are we here, right? So it is not an easy process, but it is really worth doing. It took me quite some time to figure out that my purpose is to really help and inspire others to achieve their highest potential. And that really guides what I do and how I structure this 7 dimension. So I would say identify your purpose and the best way to manifest it. And you will then design what you need to accomplish in all the other dimensions and set a goal that you can measure your performance against. That would be, a great process I would go through. Obviously, I went through many different iterations to get to this, but that's what I would like to share.
I happen to agree with you on that. I think it structures your decision-making process on how you select roles, and it selects where you focus regardless of the role that you find yourself in at the time. So I think...
And especially during this time, the end of the year, as you reflect what you want to do the following year, end of year is a really great time to start reflecting on things like this. Obviously, it will take longer than that, and it is an iterative process, but it's starting somewhere and really thinking about purpose and start documenting and journaling, writing, reflecting would be very, very helpful.
So what would you say is your key takeaway for the reader? Or what do you want to leave them with, your last word for the reader now?
So the key takeaway would be finding our own vision for our lives and defining what success means to us and doing our part with clear intention to realize our highest potential. The message is really about self-empowerment and intentionality. I think the 7 dimensions really help structure that thinking. We often feel very helpless when we are put in a situation that we feel is beyond us, but it is often, there is always an opportunity for us to really empower ourselves to think of things that we can do ourselves and be very, very intentional about our actions. So I would say the message is self-empowerment and intentionality.
Great. So Aster, what's next for you?
Yeah, so I was very focused on, I told you it took me about 3 years to write this book because I was, pursuing a very, very busy career. And I just had an opportunity this past year with pandemic and all. And after selling the business, I had an opportunity to really sit down and finish this book. So I'm so grateful that it is done. And I hope to be joining an organization very soon, sometime hopefully in January. The timing is really great. I have accomplished what I set out to accomplish around the book, but hopefully the book will reach as many people as possible. That's my goal, and that's something I will continue to promote. But I would love to be able to go do something where I can make a greater impact to a larger population.
Well, best wishes to you, and thank you so much for being here. I want to commend this book. We Are So Much More: The Journeys of 19 Powerful Women Across Countries, Class, and Color, written by Aster Angagaw and published by Lion Crest Publishing. And Aster, thank you so much for being with us today.
Thank you for having me. Thank you, Sarah.
Thanks for listening to the KTS Success Factor podcast for women. If you like what you are hearing, please go to iTunes to subscribe, rate us, and leave a review. And if you would like more information on how we can help women in your organization to thrive, then go to www.sarahebrown.com. You can sign up for our newsletter, read show notes, and learn more about our podcast guests, read my blog, browse through the books, or contact us for a chat. Goodbye for now.